That was a Juul ad. It was pretty catchy, designed to go after, as you can see, the younger among us. Forget banning the sale. The minors are cracking down. Now the Food and Drug Administration wants to ban Juul brand e-cigarettes altogether, and they want to force tobacco companies to remove nicotine from some of their cigarettes, or at least lower the amount of nicotine. The logic goes like this: the less nicotine, the less addictive, therefore the fewer people who smoke. Tony Katz is here, host of the Eat, Drink, Smoke podcast and the voice of Indianapolis, heard on WIBC radio. Tony, when I heard about the FDA's new rules, it got me thinking almost like they were targeting you individually. This has to feel personal.
It's never personal when they're talking about vaping or cigarettes, because cigars are a completely different beast altogether. But if you ask me if I'm a fan of this, the answer is I'm not. That's different than whether or not I think any of these companies should be marketing to kids or playing around the edges of marketing to kids. Now, there's a difference between marketing and flavors. So they banned flavors a while ago, what I thought was a very large mistake. There are adults who like to have these flavors, and they shouldn't be told as adults that they can't have them. The argument was, well, kids may be interested in them. The conversation about whether Juul was marketing to kids, playing around the edges of that, I think that's a fine conversation, the same way you can ask that conversation about cigarettes. But the idea of these just straight out bans while other vaping products are still allowed in the United States, man, that's an interesting moment.
Yeah, 30% of Juul users are under the age of 18. E-cigarette youth usage. A lot of people use them, but there's this nanny state idea, right? Are we going to ban alcohol because minors also drink?
And the answer is no, because that lobby is just too big. It's clear, and plenty of the people who do the banning like to have themselves a bourbon when the day is done, and they don't have the Kennedys to bootleg it for them anymore. They got to go to the store and buy it. They don't have the strength to do that kind of work. I will tell you that as a cigar guy, as a guy who promotes the cigar industry at eatdrinksmokeshow.com, my radio show and podcast, as it does, I'm concerned about these things, and I'm always concerned about the fact that they try to lump premium cigars in with cigarettes and with vaping. They are very different products. A cigar is not
right, yeah, but I think about
trade.
Yeah, but I think about your vices, right? I mean, you know, you and I spend a lot of time together. We like cigars, we like bourbon, we like good food. If you're going to ban things that people like or don't like, based on whether it could potentially be abused by teenagers or get them addicted, should we ban French fries because kids might get addicted to them with Happy Meals?
Obviously, you were not paying attention to Mike Bloomberg in about 2013, 2014.
No, I was overseas then covering wars, but go ahead.
Big gulps, trans fats, salts, all of those things were under the attack, taking away the concepts of personal liberty and, of course, personal responsibility, which is where the cigar is so much different. They don't market to kids. They don't want kids. It's a product that costs money, and this is adults making a decision for themselves, which is always what I favor. So this is a problematic moment.
You said something really smart, which is the alcohol lobby's too large and that cigars are expensive. Is this another case, though, where lower income people are getting more heavily penalized than people who smoke fancy cigars and eat steaks rather than cheeseburgers and French fries and Frosties?
In the same exact way, inflation is a tax on the poor the most. When you talk about banning soda, you're talking about an attack on the poor, or I should say taxing soda. You're talking about an attack on the poor because the rich people can still do it. When you say, oh, you shouldn't have so much meat, and it's so good that meat's expensive, the rich people say, my gosh, the meat was expensive, and then it's steaks all around. Of course it is, and it's horrific. But this is part of what the nanny state does, decides that some people just need the help because they can't do it on their own. It's a despicable way to think about Americans and about human beings in general.
Yeah, you think about it, especially now when the FDA is talking about what flavors they may or may not ban going forward. It's fascinating. Hey, Tony, it's great to see you as always. Thank you, my friend.
Always.
All right. Cigar together sometime soon. And a bourbon. Why Democrats are